Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a really close look at TipTracker.ai.
That's right. We've got info from their website, a pretty insightful YouTube review we found, and even a look at their strategy document.
Exactly. So our mission here is to figure out what TipTracker.ai is all about, what it offers, and why it might be, interesting for you listeners, particularly if you work in an industry where tips are common.
And one detail that jumped out right away, for me at least, was the founder's background, Austin Rapp. He was actually a rapper and content creator before this.
Yeah, that's not your typical tech founder background, is it? It suggests maybe a different kind of perspective shaping the app,
Definitely, and it ties into the problem they're trying to solve.
which is.
Well, managing tip income. If you're relying on tips, server, bartender, driver, whatever, keeping track,
Ah.
it's often just mental math or like messy spreadsheets, right?
Wooly. That could be a real headache. So TipTracker.ai steps in, aiming to simplify all that. They promise, basically, an effortless way to handle your daily earnings.
hmm Looking at their site, they really push a few core things. Easy logging of tips, cash, and credit. That's important.
And visualizations too, right?
Yeah.
Charts to see your earnings.
Exactly, seeing those patterns visually. And they have this, well, pretty bold mission, helping users save an extra $5,000 to $10,000 a year.
Wow. Okay, that's a big claim. Now, we also got to look at it through someone else's eyes. Sam Sheffer on YouTube, his review was interesting.
Yeah, he gave a really good first-person perspective. His initial experience, though, it wasn't totally smooth sailing on the website.
Right. He clicked enter on the homepage, and it took him straight to a calendar, which wasn't what he expected.
No, not the usual landing page experience. And what's interesting is that enter button essentially is the home page, taking you right to the dashboard, which seems to start with that calendar view.
And the main navigation also leads there.
Apparently so. And finding the actual login, that was tucked away in the settings menu. So yeah, a bit unconventional, maybe.
A little confusing if you expect a standard site structure, but despite that initial hurdle, he was able to log a tip, right?
Yeah.
He navigated to a day and put in an amount.
He did, yeah. So the core function, just recording your money, it works. It's there.
Okay. And he eventually found the main dashboard area too.
Yes, after a bit of clicking around. And that's where you see the analytics, the totals, the goals, all that stuff. It seems like they really want to get you into the tracking part fast.
Makes sense for the target user, maybe?
Yeah.
Speaking of which, who is this built for, according to their strategy?
Well, it seems like a pretty wide net. Obviously, bartenders, servers, baristas, but also taxi drivers, limo drivers, even mentions of gig workers like face painters, anyone getting tips, really.
A potentially huge audience.
Oh, yeah. Their own estimate, just for bartenders and waitstaff in the U.S., was over 2.9 million people globally. Tens of millions.
And that goal, the $5,000 to $10,000 savings, how do they think the app achieves that?
It seems to be all about clarity, giving people a really clear picture of what's coming in, when, maybe from where, helping them understand those patterns.
So knowledge is power, basically. Seeing the numbers helps you manage them better.
Exactly. Bringing some control to what can feel like a really unpredictable income stream sometimes.
Okay, so what about the tech side? What did the strategy docs say about how it's built?
Mobile first was a big emphasis. Makes total sense, people tracking tips on the go. And privacy, too.
Helps out.
They initially planned for local first data storage. So your tip data lives mainly on your phone, not automatically synced to the cloud unless you opted in, likely as a premium feature.
Interesting. And AI was mentioned.
Yes, AI-powered features, specifically an AI chatbot they called TipBot. The idea was it would offer personalized financial advice, kind of like a little AI coach in your pocket, but that was planned as part of the premium package.
Gotcha. So standard logins, emails, social media.
Right. And the dashboard being the hub for everything daily, weekly, monthly earnings, trends, maybe even calculating your effective hourly rate, including tips.
That hourly rate calculation could be super useful. And the premium stuff was TipBot, multi-device sync, deeper analytics, data export.
Yep, all those extras. And maybe some community perks down the line.
So how are they planning to pay for all this? You mentioned premium.
Right, the classic freemium model. Basic tracking is free, get people hooked. Then about $6 a month for the premium tier with the AI, the cloud sync, all the advanced stuff.
And maybe selling some merch later on?
Yeah, they mentioned that as a possibility too, branded stuff.
Okay, but, and this seems like a big but, things have evolved, haven't they?
Yeah.
Especially considering that feedback from Sam Sheffer.
They really have. Sheffer's feedback was pretty specific. He felt the website, especially on a desktop, was just like A blown-up mobile app?
Yeah, he mentioned the density, the layout, that initial calendar view feeling a bit awkward on a bigger screen.
Right. And what's really notable is how TipTracker.ai seems to have reacted. Their recent updates, which they've talked about, they specifically mention addressing his points.
So they listened
It really looks like it. They talk about being built by and for tipped workers, and this seems to show that. They apparently did a whole website overhaul.
to make it work better on desktop and mobile.
Exactly. Reorganized it, tried to make the navigation more intuitive, directly tackling those usability issues Sam pointed out.
Okay, that's good. But the biggest change is the money side, right?
Huge change. That whole freemium model we
Yeah.
just discussed, it's gone.
Gone. So it's free?
Completely free. All users get access to everything, including, it seems, the AI features that were originally meant to be premium.
Wow. Okay, so how does that work then? How do they keep the lights on?
Well, this is where it gets quite interesting. They've shifted to a voluntary support model. Basically, users can tip them.
Tip the tip tracker.
Kind of, yeah, they use a Buy Me a Coffee link.
Yeah.
But it's not just hidden somewhere.
Where is it?
It's integrated into the AI chatbot experience. So as you're using the tool, potentially getting value from the AI insights, you might be prompted with the option to send them a tip via Buy Me a Coffee if you appreciate the service.
Huh. That's a really different approach. Ties back into that buying for the community idea, I guess.
It feels very much aligned with that, yeah. Relying on the goodwill of the users who find it valuable. It's a big pivot from a standard SaaS subscription model.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. Our deep dive into TipTracker.ai. What are the main points? It's a tool clearly aimed at anyone earning tips.
Right. Mobile first in its design philosophy, even if they've improved the desktop experience now, focuses on simple logging of cash and credit tips.
Provides those visualizations, the charts, to help you actually understand where your money's coming from and when.
And it now includes AI features like that tip bot for potentially personalized insights. And critically, it's now completely free to use.
Supported by optional user tips, facilitated through that Buy Me a Coffee link within the chatbot.
Yeah, so the key takeaways for someone considering it are straightforward tip logging, useful earning visualizations, access to AI financial guidance, and the fact that they've been really responsive to feedback.
That pivot from freemium to free with optional tipping is a major point, showing that responsiveness.
Definitely. It says a lot about their connection to their target users.
So here's a final thought for you listening. Whether you get tips or not, just consider the value of having a really clear, granular picture of your income. How could seeing those patterns, those fluctuations, empower your financial decision-making?
And maybe take it a step further. If you did rely on tips, what kinds of questions would you ask an AI assistant like TipBot? What would you want to know about your own earning habits or potential?
It's an interesting concept. We definitely encourage you to check out TipTracker.ai for yourself. It's at www.tiptracker.ai and see if their approach to tracking and understanding income clicks with you.